What's up guys, welcome back to Cars, Cost, and Technology. On today's video, I want to jump back into the C8 Corvette Visualizer online and show everyone exactly the different options that I chose for my C8 Corvette. Now, if you caught my last upload, you know that I have officially submitted my order, so everything that I'm going to show you in the video has been confirmed and pinned down, put into the actual order, and submitted to GM. I wanted to wait to make this video until I had fully decided on the different specs and way I was going to put this car together. So now that I've finally decided all the different options, all the packages I was going to go with, as well as the colors and such, now I can put this video together and show you guys exactly how the car will be made. I was going to wait and not really share some of the final details until the actual car arrived, but I feel like with production not starting until December and the car not getting here until January, I really don't want to wait that long. I don't think that I'll have the patience to wait that long to talk about this car. I'm just too excited, guys. So I hope that it won't ruin the surprise, and let's be honest, it's not that big of a deal anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and just share all the details. I was going to hold a few things back until the actual delivery date, but I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys all the details of the car. If you're wondering why on earth I chose Rapid Blue, kind of out of the ordinary for me, I didn't. I'm going to start out with a color that wasn't one of the three that I mentioned in a previous video that I was trying to decide between. I do like the Rapid Blue, but that's not going to be my final color. Again, I was just trying to choose a color that wasn't one of the three. I'm going to show you each of the features and options that I chose, spec the car out exactly how I did on the Chevrolet build system when we submitted the order, and then I'm going to change the color at the end so you guys can finally see the finished product of exactly how I picked. And I hope that you guys like it a lot. I'm extremely excited about it. But let's go ahead and get started. First thing I want to fix is the interior. You can see that red interior is really standing out. I went fairly simple with the interior. I went with jet black. I think that it looks really nice and clean. I love the way that just the solid, clean interior looks. Obviously, there's a lot of customizations that you could do in this car, and I had a few in mind, but I was like, let me just keep it clean. I'm not a big interior guy anyway. Most of my focus is on the exterior of the car, but I did go with the jet black interior. For the seats, I went with the GT1, just trying to keep the cost down overall. I like the GT2 or the competition seats, but want to keep that price point down because I did opt for some fairly expensive options on the exterior and the other parts of the car that we'll go over here in a second. Plus, I think the GT1 seats are still really good looking seats. I don't have any complaints on those. Just to kind of make the interior look a little better, I did go with the carbon fiber interior trim package. So I think that that's going to look really good. That adds some carbon fiber around the gauge cluster as well as near the drive mode select and on the doors. So some nice carbon fiber in there. I think I'm really going to enjoy that. But again, that's pretty much it for the interior. As far as trim level, I went with 2LT because I feel like 2LT offers the best value. You get your heads-up display, you get a ton of extra technology in there like the PDR, front curb view camera. You know, you get a lot of cool things in there that I didn't have on my Stingray that I always really wanted. And on the C7 generation, this was not an expensive jump to go from the 1LT up to 2LT. So I felt like even though we don't know the final pricing yet, that's really worth it to me to have some of those additional features. So I'm really excited to have the 2LT package. So like I said, went with 2LT, jet black in the interior, the carbon fiber interior trim package. Now jumping back out to the outside, let's go ahead and go over to some features that I did choose. So I definitely went with the Z51 performance package, like I mentioned in the previous video where I talked about different features or options for the car. Z51 package I think is a great deal, or at least in years past it's been such a good value because it comes with the performance exhaust, performance suspension, upgraded brakes. It comes with the Z51 spoiler as well as the front splitter. So it's not only does it make the car look better, it makes the car perform better, and in the past it's only been about a $5,000 option. I know there's been a lot of discussion about it possibly being more expensive for the C8, but I really don't think it's going to be significantly more, so I opted for the Z51 package. While we're on that topic, I did go with the carbon flash wheels, went with the standard wheels rather than the Trident wheels. I think that neither of them are really impressive to me. I may even end up getting different wheels down the road for the car, but definitely wanted these ones to be in carbon flash. Went ahead and went with the bright red calipers. I think that that's a really good clean look, especially when you see the color that I chose. So we got that all done. As far as exterior accents, kept it pretty basic. The car actually comes standard with carbon flash badges, which I feel like was a really good decision on GM's part. In the past, they've come standard with the chrome badging, and you had to pay extra for the carbon flash badges. So really excited to see that the carbon flash is standard, so I stuck with that. Stuck with the standard carbon flash accent pieces along the body. You'll see a lot of these really cool options here in this design tool online that unfortunately we don't know the pricing for, and we also don't know if it'll delay the order at all, you know, if any of these will be in restraint. But you've got like the visible carbon fiber, you know, a lot of the ground effects package that can be sort of modified to look a little more aggressive. I did stick with the standard Z51 stuff just because not only does it come with a Z51 package, but it's a little bit more of a durable finish. As good as carbon fiber looks, I do plan on daily driving this car, and a carbon fiber front splitter, even, you know, I don't know, I'm not going to say it would get wrecked, but if you were just taking the car out occasionally, you'd have a little more control over it, where when it's going to be daily driven, I had my concerns between rock chips or scrubbing. But and that does also lead me to another point about a feature that I chose, and I'll go over that in just a second. But I did not opt for the high wing spoiler. I know that we talked a lot about that in the video where I was looking at speccing this car out on the visualizer last time, trying to get some input, and a lot of people did say go with the high wing spoiler, and I was almost 99% sold on that, but I opted not to go with it just simply because that is an LPO feature. It is an accessory that could be added on and installed at the dealership. So I didn't want to risk slowing down the order, and not only slowing down the order, but say paying $1,500, $2,000 for a spoiler from GM when I can get the Z51 spoiler that comes for free with the package, and then down the road, whether it's aftermarket or the GM official accessory, add a spoiler later on down the road, you know, if that makes sense. I certainly wouldn't want to forfeit my Z51 spoiler that I'm already paying for in the Z51 package, and then pay for an additional spoiler, possibly delay my order, as well as have to have the whole rear end of the car taken off to have that installed, like you probably heard from various different sources. So I ended up opting not get the high wing spoiler, but I do think maybe down the road, whether it's aftermarket or this one, I will be adding a spoiler to the car. We'll just have to kind of wait and see how things go. But that's pretty much it for those options. We talked about the 2LT trim level. We talked about the Z51 performance package. Another reason why I opted to go with the 2LT trim level, you don't hear about this very often, but the front end lift that you've heard a lot about is actually limited to the 2LT or higher, just simply because it requires the GPS capability in order to lock in those locations, the programmable locations. So 2LT and 3LT come with GPS or navigation standard. So I had to go with that in order to get the front end lift, and I really wanted that feature because in the past, for those of you that are new to the channel, I've daily driven a C6 Corvette as well as a C7 Stingray, and both of those cars were phenomenal daily drivers. I enjoyed them, but I really was concerned about scraping far too often, and it took away some of the fun from driving the cars, especially when you're going somewhere that you're unfamiliar with, and you have to really worry if you're going to be able to clear an obstacle or make it through a turn or over a steep driveway, something like that. So having that front end lift to me was really important, and that was another reason why I opted to go with the 2LT, is it does give you that navigation standard and give you access to even have the front end lift where you couldn't even get that on 1LT. So kind of interesting there. Again, I haven't heard much about that. Hopefully the front end lift isn't too expensive. That could be a pricey feature, but I feel like it's well worth it for me. And I know that that kind of goes against the argument I was making about not getting the visible carbon fiber front splitter, but I still feel like even with the front end lift, carbon fiber is just so fragile, and the look of it can be impacted so quickly. I opted, since this will be a daily driver, just stick with the standard plastic Z51 front splitter, and maybe again down the road I can get additional, you know, change out the front splitter, side rockers, rear spoiler, things like that can be changed out down the road. But as a whole, that's pretty much the build. Last but not least, let's talk about the exterior color. Now, if you did watch the video that I made in the visualizer last time, trying to get some of your feedback on the way that I should spec this car out, I was trying to decide between three main colors, and that was shadow gray metallic, which is right here, very cool looking color, black, and then of course, if you've been around the channel for any extended period of time, you know torch red had to be in consideration. So out of those three colors, I ended up deciding to go with torch red. Most of you probably had already predicted that. I really did want to shake it up a little bit and go with one of the other colors, but a few things came to mind. The reason why I decided to stick with the torch red, not only do I have some history there, you know, between having a red C6, a red C7, now a red C8, that to me is kind of special and exciting. But red also is a really great color on Corvettes. It just looks good. It shows off all the lines of the car. It's easy to maintain. It's not like you have to worry about this car looking dirty a day or two after washing it. Red is extremely easy to maintain. And in addition to that, I'm going to be filming this car a lot. I'm going to be taking a lot of photos with it and things like that, where the gray or the black, as cool as those colors look, they're really difficult to film or photograph and capture all the lines. They look great in person, and when they're clean, they definitely have a more striking and just aggressive appearance. But red is so easy to keep up with. It's easy to capture all the angles. So overall, I feel like it was just the best for me. And again, I really wanted to shake it up. I didn't want to be boring and go with red again, you know, third red car in the row. But I just couldn't help it, guys, especially after seeing some of these in video where you see them actually in real life, not on the reveal event. The red looks really, really good. The only thing really that had me sort of reluctant or having some reservations with red is just the fact that that was the reveal color, and I was sort of concerned that people would think it was kind of cliche going with the launch color, and so many people probably going towards that color. And I'm sure most of us are, I don't want to say tired of seeing it in red, but you're seeing it in red all over the place because that's the official launch color, and GM released all the initial photos of it in red. So I just feel like red is everywhere with this car, and I wanted to kind of shake it up a little bit. But I do think that that initial oversaturation of the red car will go away once we actually start getting some customer deliveries happening. Of course, there's going to be a ton of great colors for this car, but for me, it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that it was launched in this color. The history I have with the red, as well as some of the other things like the ability to film it well, the ability for it to be maintained easily as a daily driving car. That's why I ended up opting for red. But anyway, guys, I want to hear your feedback on, all these options. I'm pretty straightforward. It's not like I went anything too crazy, but definitely go with the Z51, got the 2LT trim level, the front end lift, carbon flash wheels, and torch red exterior. I think that's overall a really, really clean spec, and I cannot wait to get the car and start making more videos with it. This is pretty much my dream car. I mean, I've never, as I mentioned in a previous video, I've never had the ability to build a car from the ground up exactly how I wanted it. So there's actually a lot more pressure than you might think to narrow it down and choose what's going to be perfect for you, because there's so many good options to choose from. It feels almost impossible to decide only one of them. So I'm really happy that I was able to narrow it down and get this car built the way that I did. But let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I want to hear your feedback, and I also want to hear from any of you who have a C8 on order and how you've spec'd your car out. Can't wait to talk to you about that in the comments. But thanks so much for watching, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Have a great day.